Oh boy, do I have a treat for you. I am actually wetting myself. I'm so excited to let you know that the National Hillclimb Series kicked off last weekend in Middlebury, Indiana. And of course, Motoworld has that action right here. Here's a fresher, drier BJ Smith.
The Hillclimb is back. Low rider turnout for the first event in Middlebury, Indiana allowed each rider 3 cracks at Middlebury Hill. As you can see from the 540 class, some riders needed it, like Chad Bennett, who ran a 3.502 in his third run to finish 4th. But the day belonged to 2002 champ David Watson, as his first run-up was a scorching 3.303 seconds. Walter Tiger Strength came in at 3.487, which was good enough for second. Gary Bauer rounded out the podium run with 3.495. The 800 class was more of the same. Watson and Strength battling it out for the top spot. Watson blazes up the hill in a time of 3.23. That was the fastest in the 800, yet Watson finished second. How? The Tiger was knocked to the 9 twice and posted the exact same time for his first run with a 3.345 second run to Watson's 3.396. Strength takes the victory and gets the second fastest run. Chad Bennett posted a 3.346 to take third.
After we tied for the times, I just found the straightest hole I could find, and I just wanted to make a nice, consistent, smooth run. I really wasn't too focused on putting an extremely fast time in. I just wanted to get something decent. And, you know, I sat there in the lead and just waited to the end. Was just hoping and hoping and hoping. We just happened to cross-rut it, threw them sideways, and you just got to sit and wait for the rest of the field to see if they get you. But it's been a fun day, I'll tell you that.
Being the first round, the points mirrored the race results. Watson's atop the board in the 540, followed by Strength and Bauer and Bennett, Van Heining. 800 class Strength leading Watson and Bennett, with Liv Harton Lard at 4th and 5th.
Last season's Hillclimb Series was awesome between David Watson and Tiger Strength. Well, after swapping wins in round 1, the 2003 season is looking like more of the same. We're off to Jefferson, PA, where Watson was on his game. The flying mullet of Strength left something to be desired. You want to take this one, BJ?
White Rose Motorcycle Club of Jefferson, Pennsylvania played host to this week's Hillclimb competition. The first event of the year was a 2-horse race between defending champion of both classes, David Watson and Tiger Strength. It wasn't much of a duel in the 540s, as Tiger only made it 75 feet up the hill. Watson blows the rest of the field out of the water with a blistering time of 7.007.
It was great. To win 2 540 races in a row, it's a great way to start the season off.
Watson's atop the podium. Chad Bennett squeaked past Phil Libhart to take second. Gary Bauer finished 4th. Anthony DeHart's time saw him end up 5th. On to the 800. Could Watson keep the momentum? Would Tiger get revenge? Yes and no. Well, better make that no and yes, because Watson's time of 7.033 was only good enough for 3rd. Tiger avenged his performance in the 540 with a time of 6.667, his 2nd consecutive win in the 800.
8 wins in a row, starting from last year. You know, this is the 2nd win in a row for this year, but 8 total. I mean, I don't know how better you can get at it than that.
Tiger again takes top honors, but James Large and Watson round out the podium. Bob Templeton scores a 4th place finish. Harry Denham is top 5. Watson's king in the 540 with 30 points for his 2 wins. Bennett follows at 4 back. Gary Bauer is top 3 with 25. Van Heining clings to 4th as Libhart and DeHart tied for the 5th spot. Tiger might have fallen off the map in the overall standings in 540, but he leads the 800 with 30 points of his own. Watson's right behind, trailing by 3. Large, Libhart, and Templeton round out the top 5.
Let's wrap up this show with a little hill climbing from Nashville, Indiana. Tiger Strength has been trying to get his 800 win streak up to double digits, but there's a whole line of guys trying to hold him back.
Well, it might have taken George Louisi a whole lot of trying to get up that hill, but when you're on a bike, it's supposed to be a lot easier. The competition's the hard part. David Watson and Tiger Strength were shown last round that this is no longer a 2-horse race. Strength put together the run he wanted in the 540 class, time of 8.0607. But Watson was able to dominate aboard his Honda, blazing up the hill in a 7.386. And takes home his 3rd win this season with the 540. Phil Libhart rode for 2nd. John Hamilton Jr. grabbed the spot on the podium. Tiger was 4th, and Gary Bauer rounds out the top 5. Tiger tried to get back to his winning ways at 800, but could only muster a 7.394. Some say it was the ears on the helmet that affected his aerodynamics. Watson won the last round and was poised to repeat with a 7.157. But hold the phone, James Large storms up the hill for his 6.181 and runs away with the win.
This year we've just been trying new things. We're trying to get as fast as the other bikes, and I think we're right there on their tail now.
Large takes home his first win this season. Watson finds himself second, edging out Chad Disbennett. Jack Mason ended up fourth, and for the second time in a row, Strength can't make the podium, coming in fifth. Checking in on the points, no surprise in the 540 to see Watson up top with a near-perfect 59. Gary Bauer capitalizes on Disbennett's 15th place finish to move into second. Only 2 points separate Disbennett, Liphart, and Strength, who sit third through fifth. Watson's second place is enough to move him out front in the 800 as well. Tiger sits only 3 back, while Large's win brings him within 5. Chad Disbennett and Phil Liphart are 4th and 5th.
Always great entertainment. Let's wrap up this show with some hill climbing action from Haydenville, Ohio. Of course, the favorites, David Watson and Tiger Strank, were at large as usual. But this year's course was a little modified to keep things interesting. I just feel a little sorry for the rest of the field. BJ Smith has a report.
Greasy Ridge, set around 5. I think you can see why. Maybe it's a Greasy Ridge, whatever you want to call it. Filled with murder on the field this year, because even some of the best had a lot of trouble, as Jake Lacefield there does the impossible. Let's cut right to the 540 class, where David Watson comes right out of the gate with a perfect run. Power to the ground, with 6.79 to the top in the second run. That's hard to beat. 4 tenths of eternity in Hillclimb, and that's as close as Tiger Strank can get. A 7-1 in the first run, not going to cut it, bud. Not sure what the horns were for, but they didn't make Chad Disbennett go any faster than 7-3 and a third place overall. Watson, Strank, and Disbennett has been the podium for most of the year. Phil Liphart is fourth, and Joseph Garu cracks the top 5 with a 7.5 second run. Let's take a look at the 800 class, where Watson's second run definitely didn't match his first. You can't win them all, David.
The 800 class, I tried to duplicate what I did in the 540 class by jumping the bottom ledge there and getting up through the rough stuff. But as you can see, I probably went a little too fast and got a little sideways, landed crossed up in the ruts, and that was about it for me. That was, I couldn't straighten it out once the engine dug into the ground. So I was going for it. I was going for the win. It was a long season, so I was just trying to get some wins under my belt, and it fell short, but we'll get them next time. And the 540 class is great. I was able to win that by a mile, so things are looking good. Just got to keep going strong and get some consistent finishes.
Of course, that wasn't as bad as Liphart today on the 800. Yeah, it looked like it hurt a little bit. That's why he has 2 runs. 110 feet just isn't going to cut it, Phil. First run out for James Lard, and look at his line. Straight up the mountain, perfect form. That is the run, my friend. And he breaks the 6.5 barrier with a 6.45. Hey, he knows he's got it. Big shoes for Tiger to fill as he gets close to the 6.76 and breaks 7 in the second run. Second win of the season for Large. He does it over Strank, Disbennett, Bob Templeton, and David Watson.
Yeah, I was a little worried there as the sun come out and hill started drying up. I was afraid it was going to get faster, but it did get faster, but it got also ruddier. So it made it harder for everybody to come up there with the time.
In the 540cc point standing, Watson has a comfortable 19 points over Disbennett, who has 1 win to Watson's 4. But Chad needs to worry more about keeping the second place spot because it's becoming a tight race. The 800 class even tighter. Strank and Watson are tied for first place. Round 5's winner Large is only 1 point behind in third.
Want some more results? Well, we got them as we head out now to the Dirty Hills, where, once again, the boys with the big bikes were trying their best against some of the toughest terrain in America.
The Hill Climbers rolled into York, Pennsylvania for the All-Star Challenge, competed in a new format that had each of the riders go 2 rounds, and then the top 10 times fought it out in the third and final round for the cash and points. Tiger Strank started things off in the final round and put up a pedestrian time of 6.435, putting him out of the running for the top spot. Chad Disbennett goes screaming up the hill and puts up a good time of 6.161, a nice mark, but not unreachable. David Watson was next, and he had his bike dialed in, reaching the top in stellar 6.002, fastest time of the day. One last challenger, and Phil Liphart goes up the hill in 6.143, not fast enough to take over the lead, but good enough for second place. In the 800 class, James Large starts things off in the third and final round, putting his bike up the hill in 6.3 and some change. Not good enough for the win, but solidly in the top 5. Templeton was the next to go, and he lowers the mark by over 0.02 of a second, taking the flag at 6.160. Chad Bennett charges up the hill next and just edges out Templeton with a 6.134. Up next were the two heavyweights at Hillclimb, Tiger and Watson, and they did not disappoint the crowd. Tiger screams up the hill, putting together an ultra-fast run of 6.019, for sure an unbeatable time, right? Well, kind of. David Watson twists the throttle and he goes flying up the hill and takes the checkers with a time of 6.019, tying the run of strength. Then the AMA bean counters came into play and awarded the win and the top points to Tiger due to his better time in the qualifying round.
This is third time in a row for me to win the All-Star Championship. John Hamilton Sr., he got 4 in a row. One of my good friends and longtime sponsors, Kenny Adams, owner of Adams Cycle Repair, passed away in an ATV accident on me Thursday. And so I dedicate everything I did today to him.
Let it be noted that some felt the tiebreaker should have been awarded on an average of the 2 times in round 1 and 2. Tiger barely edges out Watson for the top spot, with James Large lurking in the shadows just 5 points behind the leader. In the points, Watson retains his lead in the 540 class, 21 ahead of Bennett. Liebhardt, Strank, and Gary Bauer round out the top 5.
The AMA Hill Climbers were in Dansville, Kentucky this past weekend for round 7 of the series. One of the toughest hills on the circuit is Pogue's Hole because of the power-sucking sand. But if you had a 10-second bike, you were almost guaranteed a spot at the top, if you didn't sink in the sand, of course.
Right? Oh, that was terrible. That was the best crash of the day, I bet you. How about that?
10 seconds is all it's going to take, huh? These guys know the drill. Keep it pinned and the power to the ground. That doesn't mean a thing to the huge crowd in Dansville at Pogue's Hole. Just give them some action and maybe a beer. In the small bores, 540 cc's, Tiger Strank continued to struggle just inside the top 5. First run out, he barely makes it inside the 11-second mark. His second run of 10.69 secured him a spot in the top 5, but left the door wide open for the rest of the riders. Like Chad Bennett, who locked up on the first but nailed down a 10.1 in the second. Even Phil Liebhardt was able to beat that. Phil's first run of 10.06 put him in control of the lead, but he still didn't beat the magic number. And of course, with sheer grace, the champion David Watson rolls to the line with 9s on the mind. A smooth launch off the top sets Watson up for the perfect line through the sand and all the way to the crest. 999 shaves it close, but hey, that's all it takes. But victory celebrations are always so short, and it will take more than that when you put a bigger motor between your legs. 800cc points leader coming into the round, Tiger Strank would rather forget this one. A 10.2 was his best run of the day, and he knew that wouldn't stand too long. Especially when Jerry Bennett lays down a 95.9, looking good in the standings for sure, but David Watson smokes that by breaking 9.5 with a 9.426 in his first run up the hole. And then there's this guy. Already 2 wins on the season, James Large blows the doors off everyone with a 9.2 in his first. At the end of the day, he doesn't even need a second run.
No, I didn't have to make another run. You know, my first time held up, no one beat it all day, so my first run was good. And, you know, with a hill as treacherous as this one, we don't want to take any chances of breaking motorcycle or body because we still have a long season left. We got a lot to do before this championship is won.
Large's time easily puts him on top of Watson and Jeff Thomas. Tiger Strank's 10.2 doesn't cut it for top 5. Revised points have Watson in the hot seat, while Strank loses 4 on the lead and ties for second with Large. The lonely 999 is at the top of the list in the 540s, while 10s bring up the rest. Strank edged into 5th with his 10.6.
The hill was awesome today. The jumps were sweet. The bottom one was a good timing jump where you had to hit it just right. And I've never won a 540 or 800 event here, and today finally won my first 540 race. And I moved back up in first again in the points in the 800 class and extended my lead in the 540. So everything's going to be tight coming right down to the wire. So it's going to be an awesome last few races. So I can't wait. I'm excited.
We're only halfway through this season as Watson is running away with it, standing tall at a near perfect 104 points. 23 down is Chad Bennett and Phil Liebhardt.
Okay, I'll admit we're a little bit behind in the hill climb highlights, but we haven't forgotten. Round 10 in Haydenville, Ohio was canceled because of erosion, giving the riders a break. Tiger Strank is one man who didn't want a break because he's in contention for the 800cc title with David Watson. We go back to Steel City, Pennsylvania for round number 8. Round 8 finds the Hill Climbers in Steel City, Pennsylvania. Chad Disbennett needing a win to cut into the margin held by 540cc points leader David Watson. First time up the hill, Disbennett shows he has the speed for the fastest time of the round, getting up the hill in just under 9 seconds. Watson reels off a good time of 9.189, and Tiger Schrank sits third fastest with a time of 9.309 after the first run is completed. Round 2, and still no one is better the time set by Disbennett. Jeff Thomas steps up to the plate and cruises up the hill in a 9.371, just missing Strank in third, but good enough for fourth. First and second at points, and the battle is heating up. Watson powers the number 1 Honda up the hill and shatters the top time, running an 8.475, only the second sub-9-second round of the day. So it comes down to this one run for the win, man and machine against the hill. Disbennett drops the clutch and hammers the throttle. He is fast, 8.331 seconds fast, beating Watson and taking home the big trophy. In the 800 class, it was all about the first run. James Large cruises to a solid 8.346, easily taking the top spot by nearly a second over his nearest competitor. But the big boys were coming up, and Watson was always good. He climbs up to the tune of 8.96, not good enough for first, but not a bad place to start. Tiger Schrank is next, and he needs a good showing to keep in the points race. Up the hill he goes, and when the clock is stopped, it's 8.342, just edging out Large by the slimmest of margins. On run 2, both Watson and Jeff Thomas ran sub-9 seconds, but neither could catch the Tiger. Despite finishing third, Watson was optimistic heading into the next round and had this little premonition.
I think it's my turn to win an 800 class this time, so maybe at Indiana I can get lucky and get a win there. So hopefully that happens.
Round 9. Could Watson hold true to his prediction and win the 800cc class? Well, not if he's going to do it this way. His back tire goes off the track, and he's credited with only a 75-foot run. The hill was kinder to Schrank, Large, and Jerry Bennett as they all three clocked in the 3 1s to sit first, second, and third after one time up the hill. On the second run, no one could crack the top 3. That's until Watson mounted his steel horse. Watson is ultra quick, 3.022, taking over the top spot and putting the pressure back on Schrank. Tiger was up to the task. He finds the fast lane, but not quite enough. A stellar 3.052. In the 540cc class, Phil Libhart set the early standard with a 3.168, which no one else could come near. He takes the win over Watson, Mike Livingston, and Jerry Bauer. There was a scary moment in this event when number 17 Disbennett suffered a hard crash, ending his day and possibly his championship hopes. Fortunately, he was able to leave the course with a little assistance. In the 540 points, Watson remains out in front ahead of Phil Libhart as Chad Disbennett drops to third. In the 800 class, Watson's still on top of the slimmest of margins with a 2-point lead over Strank, while Large sits third, 4 points in back of the leader. But it's serious business for men like David Watson and Tiger Strank, who are locked in a battle for the 800cc AMA National Championship. There isn't much time left, and every run counts. With just 2 rounds left to run, David Watson, the points leader in both the 540 and 800s, was looking to clinch at least one title at the Jefferson, Pennsylvania event. The man chasing Watson in 540s, Phil Libhart, setting 27 points in the rears. Phil's 6.425 run was only good enough for 4th place. Mike Livingston, living only 10 miles from the hill, used it to his advantage for a third with a run of 6.361. So the battle came down between Tiger Strank and Watson. Tiger was able to run the hill in sub-6 seconds, setting the bar high for David to try and top. Watson just needed a solid run up the Jefferson Hill. When David reached the top, the clock stopped at 5.890, giving the 540 title to Watson for his 7th win in 540 action this year.
When I can get a clean ride, it's always going to be right up in there for the win, and as you see, it was. And I was able to nip out Tiger today, and you know, we've been doing this pretty much all season, just hanging right in there and consistent ride after ride. And you know, it's unbelievable to win with a race to go. I know I've done this in the past, but man, when you can win, you know, and not have to worry about it going into the last race, it just makes it that much easier.
540 top 5 is Watson for the 7th time in 2003, Tiger with the runner-up spot, local racer Mike Livingston 3rd, Libhart and DeHart rounding out the top 5. This is David's 3rd 540 title in 4 years. Libhart holds on to 2nd, just 3 points ahead of Tiger, so the battle for 2nd will go down to the last round. After his 800 win in the last round, David Watson held a slim 2-point lead on his main rival, Tiger Strang. David's 5.359 run put him on top of the rest of the class to take a shot at. James Large has 3 wins in 2003 in the 800 class, but his 5.554 put him in 2nd behind Watson. So Tiger would have to win his round and hope for some help in the last round to take home the 800 title. Tiger got no help from the hill, running only the 3rd best time of the day. So Watson held on for his 3rd win of the year. James Large is the runner-up in Jefferson. Tiger knows a 3rd is not what he needed. Bennett and Denham are 4th and 5th.
Unfortunately, though, the 800 class ain't quite the same. You know, we were able to win today. We won 2 weeks ago in Indiana, and it puts a little momentum in our on our side. And being a points leader, that makes it that much more exciting. So
I got no choice now. I think I dropped back 4 points. But like I said, I gain, I drop, I tie with them. What else can I do but just go all out and wide open, and if we crash, we crash, as long as we bring home the win and the championship.
So with just 1 round left, David has only a 4-point lead. Tiger will need to win and hope for some help from other riders at the Devil's Staircase. The Devil's Staircase, the final round of the Hillclimb series, must be the most difficult. We can't ease up now. The 540 title is all wrapped up, but the 800cc was far from over. David Watson led Tiger Strank by 4 points. It was a must-win for Strank. To Oregonio, Ohio, for the culmination of the National Hillclimb Series. With the largest crowd for the year and just 4 points between them, Watson and Strank knew what they needed for the championship. Tiger didn't want a repeat of 2002.
It's kind of the same boat as last year, you know. I had a 5-point deficit with him last year, and I ended up losing by 1. You know, I'm not planning on doing that again this year, so I'm going to go out and go for the win and hopefully get some people in between us, and I can wrap this championship up.
if I get no bad luck today, you know, we'll have a good day. So, you know, the hill's, like I said, the hill's in great shape. It's a nice day. Hopefully the rain holds off. It's been muddy in the past, but you know, we're looking for a good turnout and a good race, and it's going to be very exciting. There's 2 guys that are gunning for it, and so am I. So it's going to be an awesome day.
The wild card in the class was former class champion James Large. Large was sitting 3rd in points, just 5 points behind Watson for the title. Not everyone that tried the Devil's Staircase was able to tame the beast. Some found their bike and body on the rocky ground. Number 63, James Wolfe, took his bike just 285 feet before taking out the 300-foot marker. Now down to business. James Large attacked the hill on his Harley with a first run of 6.813. That put him on top of the 800 class. David knew that all he needed was a 4th place finish for the title, and his 7.008 run held down 2nd place. Tiger's first run up the staircase left him 3rd and in need of a much better run in the 2nd round for any chance at the title. David Watson was able to better his time on his 2nd run to a sub 7 seconds, but still only good enough for 2nd place. Tiger's final attempt came up short of beating Watson's time. Tiger would have to settle for 3rd. Time for the wild card, James Large, to come up just that large, bettering his time from round 1 to a 6.745 to hold on to the top spot. It was James's 4th win of 2003. So Large won the battle, but Watson wins the war. This is David's 3rd 800 title and 7th National Hillclimb Championship of his career.
Coming in here, I was 4.10 in the 800 class and was able to pull off an almost perfect ride, and Jim Large just barely nipped me out for the win in the 800 class, but I finished 2nd on the day, and that was plenty good enough to finish off championship season, and I was really happy. I won the 540 class 2 weeks ago out in York, Pennsylvania, and finished off the season in that class with 8 wins and 3 seconds and a championship. So it's an awesome year for me.
David takes the title for 2003 in his 3rd year winning both titles. James Large was able to overtake Tiger and finish runner-up. Bennett and Templeton were 4th and 5th. With the 540 title already won for Watson, the final round was more about showing off. David wasted no time in putting up a low time in the class, 7.137, and it would stand all day for his 8th class win this year. Number 2 on the number plate, number 2 in the standings is the same place that Phil Libhart would finish with a 7.533 on his second run. Tiger would take home his second and third for the weekend on his Yamaha. So the final standings have the champ on top with 8 wins, Libhart second with just 1 win, Tiger third, Chad Despennett fourth, and Mike Livingston fifth.